Hi, I'm Pastor Brenda. It's an honor to meet you in this space. This one is all about fear. We're in this series of Fear is Less Than Love. Well, we're going to look at what fear is. If you're liking this series, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We'd love to see you more in this space. Hi. So, fear is an emotion and fear is a spirit. Fear as an emotion is a human natural response. It's rooted in our brain and our body. Adrenaline, fight or flight, heightened awareness. We feel fear in our bodies. Now, this fear can be good. Good fear leads to good decisions. Unhealthy fear leads to ungodly decisions and living your life small by choice. Fear is a God-designed human response. It is temporary. It rises and falls with the circumstances of your life. And fear is managed by wisdom, courage, and prayer. Okay? But fear is also a spirit. In 2 Timothy 1:7, Paul says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline." This is the spirit of fear. Here, the spirit of fear doesn't mean adrenaline or feelings. It means a spiritual influence that enslaves, manipulates, and dominates. The kind that grips the soul, distorts truth, and keeps us from trusting God. It is an oppressive influence that keeps us from stepping into trust and freedom. The spirit of fear wants you to have everything to be certain before you make a move. Fear, the spirit of fear, is the opposite of love. Now, some people say hate is the opposite of love. This is not true, and let me explain that. Hate is the distortion of love, not its opposite. Hate is still a form of attachment. It's passionate, directed, and often born out of wounded love, jealousy, or unmet desire. In other words, hate still acknowledges relationship, even as it is twisted love. Fear, on the other hand, refuses relationship altogether. It withdraws, distances, and isolates. Fear draws us away instead of drawing us in. It builds distrust instead of developing trust. Fear blocks love at its source. To love requires vulnerability. Fear refuses vulnerability because it can't take the risk of being hurt. When fear leads us, we then cannot step into love. Fear says, "I must protect myself." Love says, "I give of myself." Fear is about control, and love is about trust. Fear thrives on needing certainty, safety, and control. Love thrives on trust, surrender, and openness, even in uncertainty. Now, there's a lot to unlock in that. You might want to hit rewind and capture all that. Also, fear lies. Fear presents this illusion that you really are actually doing something to control the outcome of the situation, when really fear is this adrenaline junkie, exhausting you, keeping you in a frenzy because you're going to fix the situation, you're going to get ahead of it, you're going to try to control it, it keeps you in a frenzy and a persistent source of shame and regret. Fear does not protect you. So many people use fear and justify fear as a way to control their world, believing they will beat vulnerability to the punch by being vigilant about fear. What an exhausting web fear loves to weave into your life. Then add anxiety to it all. Max Lucado defines anxiety as trepidation. He wrote a great book called Anxious for Nothing. This is a quote from his book. "It's suspicion and apprehension. Life is in a minor key with major concerns, perpetually on the pirate ship's plank. You're part Chicken Little and part Eeyore. The sky is falling and is falling disproportionately on you. As a result, you're anxious. A free-floating sense of dread hovers over you, a call across your heart, a nebulous hunch about things that might happen sometime in the future. Anxiety and fear are cousins, but not twins. Fear sees a threat. Anxiety imagines one. Fear screams, "Get out!" Anxiety ponders, "What if?" Fear results in fight or flight. Anxiety creates doom and gloom. Fear is the pulse that pounds when you see a coiled rattlesnake in your front yard. Anxiety is a voice that tells you never ever for the rest of your life walk barefooted through the grass. There might be a snake somewhere. One would think Christians would be exempt from worry, but we are not. We've been taught that the Christian life is a life of peace, and when we don't have peace, we assume the problem lies with us. Not only do we feel anxious, but we also feel guilty about our anxiety. The result is a downward spiral of worry, guilt, and a quote from Max Lucado. But as we say here in this church, worry, shame, because we're pro-guilt here in this church. We believe guilt is that twinge that leads you to make a better decision, to stop you from making a bad decision, and we believe shame lies to keep you small. So it's worry, shame, this downward spiral that anxiety and fear keeps you in. So question, your first conversation question. I hope you gathered with your people, your roommates, your family, your small group. When has fear tricked you into feeling like you are in control, only to leave you more exhausted and ashamed? Have that conversation. So let's talk about trying to beat vulnerability to the punch by being vigilant about fear. This is called foreboding joy. So let me ask you some questions. When you receive good news, do you secretly grimace inside because you just know bad news is going to follow? Or do you find yourself talking yourself down from enjoying something because you just know something bad is going to happen next? So why should I enjoy this? Because something bad is going to happen. Do you begin to enjoy the joy of the moment? Will you talk yourself out of it because you know that this joy is too good to be true for you? For example, let me give you this one. You feel such tenderness for the person you're falling in love with, but you still fast forward in your mind to the day you believe you will have your heart broken. So you're in this tension of you're falling in love and you want to trust this person, but this person's going to break your heart. And you're almost sabotaging the relationship. This is foreboding joy. Or you're breathing in the smell of your newborn. And it is this beautiful moment with your newborn. But then your mind spins immediately to the terrible world your child's going to grow up in. And it's your fault your child's going to grow up broken and be hurt. And have people betray him. And you all of a sudden you feel dread over your child. Just when you're breathing in the beautiful beauty of this newborn, you find yourself full of dread. This is foreboding joy. What you are doing is dress rehearsing tragedy so you can beat vulnerability to the punch. By trying to imagine the worst case scenario in your control, you somehow think you're protecting yourself from what you fear the most. What you're saying to yourself is, I'm not worthy of having this joy, so I must sabotage it before life sabotages me. Does this one hit? When we feel such moments of joy, these too good to be true thoughts are rooted in fear, scarcity, and blocking vulnerability. This is no way to live. You're missing out on joy. You're missing out of love. Your fear has taken over love in your life. And you're sucking the joy out of the people who love you the most. What difference might it make if you believed you're truly worthy of joy without sabotaging it in advance? So here's your next question. How does foreboding joy affect the people closest to you when you can't stay present with them when there is a moment of joy? Have that conversation. How is your soul feeling here about fear? I'm exposing stuff, and I want to be. And I got more to expose. Do you believe fear itself keeps you safe and prevents bad things from happening? Is this a place fear is taken in your life? I know moms who wear fear like a badge. They freak out over a news headline or a rumor and loudly proclaim with their friends or on social media, "I'm not letting my kids go to school today because I'm that kind of mom." You say you are being wise, cautious, and discerning, but in truth you're afraid of failing, afraid of being seen as not enough. Fear disguised itself here as responsibility. Fear is at the root of so many who are trying to control their worlds. The fear is justified if it makes them better mothers or better fathers or better providers or better husbands or better wives as they spend all their energy and then some more in an attempt to control every outcome in your world. So on our website, we've created a PDF download for you entitled 4 Life Practices to help you overcome the fear that feels responsible but exhausts you. You can find this on our website under Growth Resources and Created for Our Conversations. This is going to be a helpful one for you. It's just 4 practical tips. So in response to fear here, I want to give you another Max Lucado book. It's from his book, Fearless. This might be my second favorite quote in all the world. When fear shapes our lives, safety becomes our God. When safety becomes our God, we worship the risk-free life. Can the safety lover do anything great? Can the risk-averse accomplish noble deeds for God, for others? No. The fear-filled cannot love deeply. Love is risky. They cannot give to the poor. Benevolence has no guarantee of return. The fear-filled cannot dream wildly. What if their dreams sputter and fall from the sky? The worship of safety emasculates greatness. No wonder Jesus wages such a war against fear. Repeating some things there. The fear-filled cannot love deeply. Have I exposed that in you? The worship of safety emasculates greatness. And no wonder Jesus wages such a war against fear. For the rest of the series, we're going to be looking at some art from an artist named Scott Erickson. He wrote a book called Move from Fear. There'll be a link for it. It's a PDF book. It's an ebook. It's a small book, but it's full of this art. He created this art from his fear and wrote this about it in the introduction. Word prayers were not enough. The anxiety was in my body, and so my body needed a way to pray as well. It's harder to take the arguments of fear and embody them through hand gestures. Then I came up with a corresponding hand gesture for the invitation of love. So here is our first art for the week, just introducing this art to you. Fear hates vulnerability. Love sings. I want you to look at this art. We call this Visio Divina in our church, where we take art and find a divine moment in it. So look at this art, and I'm going to read the words he wrote about this art. See what this does inside your soul. Beloved, you have a song to sing. You do. You really do. You know the one. It's that one you're afraid of still being in when you die. Yet there are all these precursors you feel you need to accomplish in order to sing that song. The right mood, the right surroundings, the right sound check. Everything must be perfect. Fear has convinced you that the only time to sing is when everything is perfect, as if the goal of the song was perfection. Beloved, the goal of a song is not perfection. The goal of a song is love. What does it mean to sing? We're obviously been talking in metaphor, but seriously, what does it mean to sing? You must take air in your lungs and push it out through the larynx, while controlling the pitch and wording with your mouth and tongue. But not only is it your body parts that are important, your mind, heart, and invisible soul that make a song truly a great song. Fear is convinced that the best way to deal with your vulnerabilities is through hiding them under the thick casing of perfection. But love has seen the best way to deal with our vulnerabilities is to sing our song through them. Passing through your heartbreaks, doubts, passions, failures, secrets, off-key pitches, and joys, as well as unique physical makeup, is what makes your song truly special. You are the medium of your great song. Fear wants you to wait for the right time to start. Love wants you to just start singing. So take a moment with your group, pause this video, and talk about what you see in this art and what you heard in those words. Have that conversation. Every week we're going to have some art like that. It's going to be fun. 1 John 4:18, such love is no fear, because perfect love expels all fear. If we are afraid, it is for fear of punishment, and this shows that we have not fully experienced His perfect love. So many layers in this verse. But let me go with this one. The book of 1 John is known as the book of love. That's the book full of love verses. It is. But it's also an interesting misnomer because twice John declares now is the last hour. And he frequently talks about the Antichrist or the devil 7 times amidst all these verses of love. 1 John is the only book of the Bible that uses the word Antichrist. This sounds like a warning of fear. It reads like John's last desperate instructions to a church in a world that is spinning apart. And it comes down to love, love, love. It's striking then that John doesn't spend much time on arguments or abstract theology. Instead, he writes about love. Again and again, he insists that love is the defining mark of the Christian life, not certainty, not self-protection, not doctrinal purity, but love. And in this context of real uncertainty and anxiety, he offers this verse. Such love is no fear, because perfect love expels all fear. If we are afraid, it is for fear of punishment, and this shows that we have not fully experienced His perfect love. John does not describe a state we must achieve. Rather, he describes what the love of God does. It casts out fear not by removing threats, but by reorienting our hearts away from any illusion of self-sufficiency and toward the trust that we are held by someone greater than anything we may face. This love does not deny the danger, nor does it guarantee that we will escape suffering. Instead, it assures us that we are not abandoned. Fear isolates and makes us small. Love draws near and invites us to open. In drawing near, the love of God displaces fear, not because the world is safe, because we are not left alone in the world, in the midst of it. That's my benediction to you. Fear is a lot. Now remember, the emotion of fear can help you make some good decisions, Can also lead to some bad decisions. But the spirit of fear wants to keep you small, not singing, striving for perfection. Can I go down that list that you know your soul is singing about right now? But when we love first, we find that we are not abandoned. God never abandons us when we lead our lives with love. I wish I could guarantee you the outcome, but I can guarantee you, you will know and love this God. Live a bit braver this week. See what happens. Amen.